Welcome to Living by Faith with Trillia Newbell, the bright spot to your Saturday morning. You'll hear from God's Word, engage with guests who know, and be encouraged to live by faith today and every day. Today's show is taped, so although we can't take calls, I'm always happy to hear from you. Feel free to email us at livingbyfaith@moody.edu. Again, it's livingbyfaith@moody.edu. Summer is just around the corner. For some of you, it's here now. And that usually means the kids are home. They are full of energy and they are raring up for things to do. Summer also gives families a chance to slow down, reset their pace, and rediscover practices that shape us. What better tool to shape us than books? And not just any books, books that help us know God and understand Christian principles and values. That's why I'm so excited about Moody Publishers' summer reading program. Now, full disclosure, along with hosting this wonderful show, Living by Faith, I have the privilege of serving as the acquisitions and editorial director at Moody Publishers. I am fully invested in what Moody publishes, and I'm thankful that I get to do these two things, talk with you and also help resource the church. That means I'm fully invested in helping you and your kids find books this summer. To help us learn more about Moody's summer program, I've asked my friend and colleague, Ashley Torres, to join us. Ashley, welcome to Living by Faith.
Thank you, Trillia. What a joy to be here with you.
It is such a joy. And I would love to just start by having you tell us about the reading challenge. What is it? What is this challenge and how do we sign up?
Yeah, so this is our third year that we're offering a summer reading challenge for families. And this year we're calling it Moody Publishers Family Summer of Reading, Screens Down and Books Up. And we are just so excited about this summer reading challenge because really our heart is to serve families and especially in discipling their children. And one of our partners who we're partnering with called The Redeemed Reader, they in their book, one of my favorite quotes is, if you want to raise kids who think deeply and love well, start with what they read. And so we're partnering together this summer to give families a free summer reading challenge. And it's easy, ready to go, ready to implement. It's not overwhelming. We really want to make it as simple and as easy for families of all types to just gather together this summer for some quality time and to just spend some time reading together. So we're really excited about it.
I love it. And Screens Down and Books Up sounds like something you did on purpose. Kids are distracted and have so many options for things to pick up besides books. So how do you think parents can help kids get excited about reading?
Yeah, so that you're exactly right. We have been in the last few years, what we've seen is article after article about a reading recession across the US, right? And what's been the findings is that it's possible that one of the factors is the rise of social media on smartphones. And so one thing that we have been seeing is different countries like Australia who have banned like social media under 16. At some point, they're just now reporting that bookstores, readings, book sales are up 3% because now kids have this ability to get their attention on things that on things like books and reading, who really do allow you to have better attention spans and can take you to all different types of worlds and imagination building. And it keeps their attention even longer, surprisingly. And so finding the right type of book for your maybe reluctant reader is so important too. And starting with these smaller wins, right? And so the reading challenge, what's really fun is that we even have ideas for how to tie things that maybe are fun for kids to reading. So, for example, grab your favorite snack and a book to read for the next 20 minutes, right? Or go outside and read on a picnic blanket.
Mm.
Um, or even simple things like get your cozy pajamas on and read for 20 minutes, or things like that. So just tying these really great habits.
So it sounds like you are trying to help parents help kids be creative in the way that they read, and which takes these kids who maybe struggle with distraction or struggle with um eh, all the other things that they could be doing, and it combines it with reading. I love the idea of grabbing a blanket and go outside and read, or get in a
Mhm,
hammock if you have a hammock and go and read,
mhm.
or maybe even you can grab a friend and read together and talk about what you're reading, depending on the age, of course. Read with siblings. So there's so many different things that you
Yes.
can do. Yeah. To read. I think one of the things that I as I was thinking about this, had this word intentional in my head.
Mhm.
And so parents could even, and I guess what I'm trying to say is this can also help parents, because summer is it's a hard time when if you have children at home and you're trying to get things done. It's very difficult. So you could have a time where it's intentional. Okay, guys, every day between 9 and 10, if you're up, this is what you're going to do. You're going to sit and read. And it's building a habit of reading for
Yes.
your kids. And so I love this idea. I love the idea of being intentional, and it doesn't have to be intentionality doesn't need to feel like more work. It can be fun. So I love it. I love the giving not only equipping kids, but we're in many ways equipping parents and helping them um to know what to do, and to serve their kids and their families well. And yeah, so reading is one of those great tools. Okay, so I have a question for you that's more personal.
Mhm.
What was your favorite book growing up? Did you read much, or do you have a book? And I'll also answer this question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, surprisingly, growing up, I read mostly for school. And my household, we were not necessarily big readers. So, my parents, my mother, actually, I was raised with a single mother, did not read aloud to me, which is so
Mm,
different from the way that I'm raising my three children. And that's just to say also that, you can start family culture of reading. It is just one really great way to have connection with your children and disciple them well. But I remember vividly being in, I think it was the second grade, and being on the carpet, and we were reading The Boxcar Children.
mm.
And that book, I remember just being so captivated by the story, and just like there's these poor children are all alone and they're going
Mm.
town, town to town. And I remember coming home and talking with my mom and my sister about this book, and having them go to the library with me to check out more. And so it started a whole, years of reading the Boxcar Children. And so it was definitely like one of the first chapter book series that I was captivated by was that one.
I love that. Well, we have similar stories. I did not I grew up in a wonderful home, but I was outside jumping out of trees and playing in mud, which I also encourage kids to do. I was very
Yes.
active, and reading was not one of those activities that I did a ton of at all. And so it wasn't a habit. It's really funny and comical to me that I'm now in the work that I do, but both as a writer and also as in the publishing
Mm-hmm.
industry, because it just was not one of the things that I did. I didn't fall in love with reading until probably maybe even high school. Um, but I'm glad that we have these similar stories, because I imagine there's a parent out there that also has this story and
Mm-hmm.
would be wondering, well, how do I even do this? How do I do this? And that's one of the things that I love about our reading challenge, is that we give you the
Mm-hmm.
tools. And so you don't have to make it up. You don't have to have had this kind of history of reading in your home. As a matter of fact, if you currently you don't have a culture of reading, you don't have to think of it as this big thing that you have to build. You can start with one book, and that you just need the tools. And this is something like a list of books that we'll talk about later on in the show, or even these kinds of tips, and well, we'll equip you. And I love that, because neither Ashley nor I grew up in a home where we read, so we weren't kids that
Mm-hmm.
read a ton, I'll say. And but yet we love books, and I think that that is something that is real, should, I hope, encourage you listeners, that you can you can start now. You don't have to have
Yes.
yeah, you don't have to be have all of this knowledge of books, or even uh d- d- have grown up loving books, but we can start now, because we want everyone to be in ultimately in God's word. But we want people to love reading and love books, and our books help you know God, and challenge you to think of things of beyond ourselves. And I just think that is something that's really encouraging. You are listening to Living by Faith with Trillia Newbell, and we are talking all about books this morning, the summer reading challenge that Moody Publishers is um, putting on this summer. And we want to help equip you with not just knowledge, but books to help stir creativity, stir imagination, and learn about our Lord. More on Living by Faith when we return. Welcome to Living by Faith with Trillia Newbell. I am so happy to be talking with my colleague. I'm talking with Ashley Torres, and we're talking about Moody's summer reading program. She is a book-loving marketing leader with over a decade in Christian publishing and brand strategy. And we want to talk about these books. And do you think that in many ways this is about helping parents be intentional in their summer? In other words, maybe it's equipping parents too. I kind of alluded to that in our first segment, but what do you think?
Oh, absolutely. One of the things I think I've joked around is usually sometimes at the beginning of the year you do a reading recap, and I say I read whatever my children read this year, um, and I think that's just such a beautiful. Thing about reading together as a family is that it does equip the entire family. And so, parents, with the summer reading program, we really do want to inspire, encourage parents to say, "Hey, you can do this, or your whole family can do this." And like you said, Trillia, it really is simple and fun. And in our home, I put bins out full of books that we get from the library, so that they're readily available. They're there. If someone, is bored, if someone wants to sit down and just cuddle on a sofa, we grab a
Mm,
book, right? And bedtime, even bedtime. It's one of those rhythms that we've just implemented since they were really born, of just we're going to end our night by cuddling up together with a book, in bed, and say a prayer and say goodnight.
mm.
And so just 20 minutes, 10, 20 minutes a night. It's just a rhythm that they look forward to every single night. And if we break that that rhythm, oh, the kids will make it known we haven't read our book. And so just it really is something that you can begin today, and that even as a parent, you're going to feel like, wow, this is what a great way to just connect with my child, and spend some quality time. So we're really excited about that.
Yes, I love that your kids are like, "Wait a minute, where's our reading time?" I think that's part of the purpose of not just this, but it allows you to spend time with your children. And even if you're not spending time because you hand them a book for those older kids,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
you're influencing them. And that to me is one of the just joys of something like a reading program. Or I know that I had the chance of walking through books with my kids, or reading together with them and discussing it, or of course reading those lovely picture books with my children, and it builds a bond, and allows for conversation that maybe we wouldn't have had without that kind of entry point, that tool, something to give them that would help build conversation and stimulate thought. And so
Yes.
I love books for those reasons. But you did say something that also I've experienced. I write books and I've written kids books, and I have had parents tell me how they have learned about maybe some big theological truth because they read it in a simple form. And I think we don't want to miss that we also learn. Is that something? I think you alluded to it, but have you experienced that,
Mm-hmm.
Ashley?
Oh, countless of times. I can't tell you how many times we have read, even Moody Publishers publishes these stories called Read Aloud Bible Stories. And my son, I remember reading to him when he was probably about two, these short stories. And um, we got to the part where Jesus tells the storm, tells the waters, right, to be still. And
Hmm.
I remember being this young mom and just hearing those words, because he asked for it over and over. The story of just hearing that just passage come to life, really, and these little stories. And that was exactly what I needed to hear. Is like, man, my God really can calm these storms.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, and just even hard topics, like we're also not afraid to touch on, books are such a great way to touch on difficult topics, right? And so there's some times where our kids are going to be reading about things of life that are more difficult, right?
Hmm.
And it's such a great way, like you mentioned, turning these reading moments into shared moments that can really spark conversation, can help us get a little bit of an entrance to say, well, what do you think about that? Like, how did
Yeah.
that make you feel? And 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 those types of conversations, man, are we forming and discipling their hearts, to love God, to love others, to see God, hopefully look forward to God's redemption of this world. So it really has just been, like you said, really a great vehicle for um, to encourage conversation, and it's been great.
Mm. One of the things a quote from the Redeemed Reader that I just think is really good is if you want to raise kids who think deeply and love well, start with what they read. And why do you think reading shapes us so much?
Oh man, that is a great question. I have recently have been a little bit heartbroken over some findings that said something along the lines that the next class divide is going to be
Mm,
um, kids who can read and critically think, and those who cannot. And I think that because reading really does strengthen memory, it grows vocabulary, you gain knowledge faster, so knowledge that can't be lost, right? It cuts stress. I mean, it goes on and on. And so what I think about um, when the books are able to do that, and it's just about access, really, right? Um, I do think about the fact that the way that Redeemed Reader, their whole ministry, if you have not checked them out, please do. We're partnering with them with the Summer Reading Challenge. But they want to put books in front of kids that are truth, that they're beautiful, that they talk about, things that are good for our faith, that reinforce truth and courage and kindness, all of these things, but in a way that with good stories that kids are excited to read, that spark their imagination, that have meaningful themes, that are all uh, based on Christian values, right? And so if kids can be captivated by things that are good and beautiful and true, then they're able to um, cultivate discernment even in what they read, right, and how they treat um, their neighbors, and how we live out this Christian life, and what they long for, or what is beautiful. And so it's these types of stories, they shape our imagination, and so when they say, hey, start with what they read, it's like these are the things, the images, the that we're putting into their minds, into their imaginations. And so if we can cast this great um, vision and beautiful story before them, and then man, they will they will rise up,
mm.
and yeah, hopefully just learn to follow the Lord, and be also captivated by the work and the story that He has for them.
I love that. That a reminder that, oh, God has a story for you and God is working in your life. And I think that part of there's so much that you said. One, wow, you've read statistics that
Hmm.
our divide will be those who can read and those who cannot, which is so humbling, and it puts kind of a fear in, not fear in so far as, oh, I'm afraid, and but a fear of to challenge you to, okay, if this is true, then we want to equip our kids, and not to be fearful, but more to really help them, and help them uh, to be equipped and ready to live their life. And so
Hmm.
it's in many ways, it's not just about, oh, reading for fun, but reading so that they can be equipped to live. And so I think that's a challenge, but also that it it helps shape the imagination. It helps them to engage with others, I believe. Well, it helps them to know God's story and the story that God is writing for their own lives. So there is so much about reading that is beyond just, okay, here's something fun you should do this summer. And I think that's just a good reminder for us, and a reminder for our hearts as we are thinking through this. But I want us to talk about this when we come back from the break in a minute. We can start this conversation now. But how would you encourage the parent who has a kid who just doesn't like to read?
Yeah, and we've all been there. There can be a time when maybe a child is a voracious reader, and then they come, there's a summer, there's a few months where they're like, I do not want to pick up a book. Um, but I do think that as parents, we do set the tone for our family rhythms. And so I think as if parents continue to prioritize it, if they continue to, like I said, really just kind of have their home in different spots, right? Of having books available in different times of and spaces in their home, whether it's book bins, whether it's even like car rides, right? Different formats now, audiobooks, right? You're driving
Hmm.
your child to soccer practice, and you know what? Let's put in an audiobook. And so even just finding the types of books and the types of stories and genres that lights up your child. So I think that those are fun ways to do it. And there's definitely more that we can go into.
Yes, more on Living by Faith with Trillia Newbell as I'm speaking with Ashley Torres when we return. Welcome back to Living by Faith with Trillia Newbell. I'm talking with Ashley Torres, and we're talking about the Moody Publishers summer reading program that we want all of you to get involved in. And we've been talking about the benefits of reading and all that God could do for and in your child. And we were talking at the break about, well, what if you have a kid who doesn't like to read? And I loved that you were talking about different options that they can do, such as listen to an audiobook. What are some other things that you were going to speak about?
Yeah. And so, like I said, there's different genres. And one of the things that we worked with the Redeemed Reader is putting together a recommended reading list. And the way that we laid this out for families are recommendations in different formats. So, for example, graphic novels. Hey, if graphic novels have been just a really great tool to get reluctant readers to read. And so we have a list of really great graphic novels. That kind of jumpstart a reading for some reluctant readers. We have books that are like to read before movies, right? So think about like Charlotte's Web. You can read that book, and then usually we finish the book, and then I'll tell my son, "Hey, let's go ahead and read the book, and then we'll watch the movie." Or there's a list of funny books. Hey, if your child is right now is not the time for maybe a heavier allegorical read, there's some books that we can recommend that are funny, that'll make them laugh. There's also like a list of books for outdoor lovers, right? If you have a child who loves to be outdoors and wants to really just find themes on animals or things like that, we have a list for them. Even biography books. There are kids who love to just learn about different people in history and what they accomplished and their stories. And so we have a list of biographies, even a list of fantasy and sci-fi books. So there's, again, we have this wonderful list of recommendations from the Redeemed Reader, who their ministry really is to read ahead for parents, because let's be honest, we can't read all of the books ahead of time, maybe for our kids, to verify if, like, okay, does this book touch on anything that maybe goes against my Christian values? So they have done such an excellent job at reading ahead for parents and putting together these recommended lists that parents can trust and that kids really will enjoy.
I love that, Ashley. And so here's a question that I have for you, because I did not realize this. So these are books even beyond Moody Publishers. You are offering all sorts of book ideas and recommendations that are pretty broad. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. So these are we in this list. You will find books from Moody Publishers, like Little Pilgrim's Progress, The Seed Saved by Heather Holleman. We have a series by. Sorry about that. What is her name? Oh my goodness. Um, we have a series that has biographies of C.S. Lewis and others. Um, and so, but alongside those, we also have other books and classics that your families can enjoy as recommended reading. So we have a mixture of both so that you can create your home library and reading list that'll hopefully really encourage your reader at home.
I love that. There are so many books and so many wonderful kids fiction that we've gotten into, and all sorts of things from Neil Bronham to John Greco to Heather Holleman to all just lots of books. And you can find all of this, of course, on moodypublishers.com, and you can look and see what's available, what's coming, and all of the things that we have. We also have Bible studies to help you get in God's Word and other nonfiction books. So check it out at moodypublishers.com, and you can see all of the various books that are available to you. And, I think it's really good that you can start small. So if you have a kid who maybe that they just aren't excited about reading. Maybe you start with one fiction book by Jasmine Mullins, the Ben Washington series, and maybe you
Yes.
start there and just start with the one book, or you say, okay, why don't we read one chapter of something together and do it together? So there's just different things that you can do. I
Mhm.
think another thing that I've done is just ask in the past, because my kids are older now, but which is very sad.
Yeah.
It's also good. Yay, they're older, but it's sad. But one thing that I did was say, hey, why don't you just spend 20 minutes? So I am not trying to get them to one of my kids would read Augustine. I'm not. It depends on who taught you how you say his name. But and then so they would read all sorts of massive theological books. And then I had another kid who was like, I would rather do almost anything. Let me draw. And so with that
Mhm.
kid that wanted to draw, I would be like, okay, maybe you can think of the character that you're reading and draw that, or just read 15 minutes. That's all I'm asking, and that would be so sufficient. And so I think there's just some really creative ways in that you can help in your kids who are different enjoy
Mhm.
reading and not put pressure on them to fill out this, make it more like school. You don't have to do that. You can make it fun and give them the tools that they need to enjoy reading without the pressure to fill out some kind of calendar or something like that. And so, you have children? Do you have one that loves reading and one that maybe isn't as excited about that?
Yeah, I have three, and they are 8, 6, and 3. So they're also at different reading levels, right? One
Yes.
can read. Um, I my middle child, she is learning to read, and then my youngest, of course, just listens to us. But one thing, Julia, to your point, is that this summer. I am a working mom and I have three kids going to be at home. And so I can't have, I'm not necessarily going to say, we're going to read 50 books this summer. That is not the pressure that we're
Mhm.
putting on ourselves this summer. But one the how our summer reading is going to look like is, as a family, we're going to read Little Pilgrim's Progress. that is a book. It's a read aloud book, and I read that with my oldest son a few years ago when he was about 5 or 6 as a read aloud with him. But this year, I thought, you know what? I think all three are old enough where they can sit down for a few pages a day, and that's going to be our summer read. Like, we're going to get through the whole, my plan is to little by little, a few pages a day, sit down with them and see how much we can get through. And so I'm really excited about that. They're excited about that. They're like, Mom, I can't wait to read Little Pilgrim's Progress together, and it has a little bit for everyone, right? And so it has beautiful pictures that my 3-year-old and my 6-year-old can look at, and even myself and my 8-year-old. But also it's going to capture their imagination. My 8-year-old will be able to ask questions. I mean, some of the themes in there are very heavy and important, and so I'm really excited that that's our plan. And so, and when you for the summer. For Moody Publishers summer reading program, you'll see in our bundles, our exclusive summer reading bundles, that if that sounds like a great plan for you, you'll find some screen-free summer starter kits that'll have Little Pilgrim's Progress in it. And so feel free to check those out, and maybe you'll join us.
Yes, we want you to join us. We are so excited about this summer reading program that Moody Publishers is putting on. More on Living by Faith when we return. Welcome back to Living by Faith with Trillia Newbell. I am talking with Ashley Torres. She is the marketing manager at Moody Publishers. She leads a talented team that helps bring gospel-centered books to readers who need hope and truth. Ashley is passionate about connecting meaningful messages with hearts hungry for God's word. And we are talking about the Moody Publishers Reading Challenge. We want everyone to be able to grab and go to that reading challenge. We'll have the link on our page when you return, or when you go and listen to the page on when you visit the page on our website. But just since you're listening, it is moodypublishers.com/summer. And we want you to go and read and join the challenge. You can sign up at the link and get all sorts of resources, including books. We'll also share some links to my books that on Living by Faith, and because we want you to also engage with the books that I have written with Moody Publishers, and I am so grateful for that. So we are talking about the challenge, helping parents read, and not just read, to help their kids read. But it did dawn on me that it does help if parents themselves are reading. And I know that's not the purpose of what we're talking about. But one of the things that I do and we want people to do on Living by Faith is to help people walk by faith, to live by faith. And it's hard to inspire your kids to do something you're not doing. And it's hard to, we want all people to know God and to walk in a manner worthy of the gospel, but it's hard to equip people to do that if you're not doing it yourself. So it's kind of the go and make disciples of all nations. Well, you also have to be a disciple follower of Jesus and learning. And so let's talk to the parents about reading for just a second, because I think that part of the reason maybe that kids don't read is they don't see us reading, or it's not something that we're in the habit of doing, so we're not going to encourage it. And so how do we encourage maybe the adults in the room to also engage in reading when we're busy, distracted ourselves, and it can just be hard. It can be hard to find that time. How would you encourage parents to read themselves?
do we have another hour, Trillia?
I know.
Uh, and here, and this is, we were very intentional about calling this family summer of reading,
Hmm.
because we really did want to make this a family initiative, or a family rhythm. A few years ago, we called it was a kids summer reading challenge, but this year we were very intentional with with exactly what you just said, Trillia, which is the screens down, books up. That doesn't apply just to the kids. It doesn't apply just to the teenagers. It applies to us as parents as well, us as adults. And as we have been looking into this, just as you mentioned, more and more, a child's screen time use is often very much correlated to their parents' screen
Right.
time use. And so it really is just saying, hey, summer is a great opportunity to kind of reset rhythms. We get it. I know sometimes we just have to turn on something in order to make sure we can cook dinner, right?
Right.
So that's not, it's not a war against screens, but it's to say, hey, summer is here, and it's just such a great opportunity to take a look at, like, what are the rhythms that are shaping our family? Is this the direction that we want to continue to go? What are some ways that we can maybe redeem some of the time, or just reset and say, you know what, I want to um, uh, reset and create some space in our family rhythms to connect and have meaningful conversations, and rhythms that really are going to help you, right? When we talk about the benefits of reading, they really are, it's so many benefits. And so and even for us as parents, oh man, can we I read the other day something about reading 6 minutes a day reduces stress, compared to any other kind of stress reducers. So I do think that as parents, yeah, children, they are going to really, what's the word? Sorry, children. Sorry, nope, that's not what I'm saying. More is caught than taught is what I have been told and also seen. And so, in the morning, is there a time that they can maybe see you, right, picking up a book while you're waiting in line, right, at the grocery store, or when you're at a restaurant waiting for food, or in any of those kind of moments, instead of maybe screens, there could be a book that you can have with you guys, or just have conversations over something that you're reading or learning. So there's just so many opportunities for parents um, to really just set the tone for their home. And I think that exactly what you said of that is one way that we can disciple our children.
Yes. I think it is so important that we note again that there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. So if you feel like, oh man, I've done it wrong, or if you feel like, wow, it is just, I've been in the habit of just handing over a tablet or handing over this and ignoring my kids, whatever it is. Um, the good news is that we are trying to help and not put a burden. It's actually a
Mm-hmm.
tool that you can use that frees you from trying to think creatively or trying to come up with something to do. You have something to do. We will hand you a summer reading program that all your family can do. You can pick and choose. You can think creatively. Give your kid a book. Tell them to go outside and read for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is. So it is actually to help lift the burden, not add an extra thing for you to do. It's a way that you can, as a family, intentionally walk this summer and either learn together or help. It's a help. And so I want to encourage you that if you have not done something like this before, this is a tool that will serve you in your parenting and also serve you in your own heart. As we've just mentioned several times, it is a family affair. It's for all the family to get involved in. And we're just here to help you, to help come alongside you as you serve your family. So, Ashley, how can people sign up?
Yeah, so they can go to moodypublishers.com/summer. And when you land there, you just simply put in your email address, you click to join the challenge, and you'll automatically be sent our summer reading packet. And the summer reading packet literally is ready to go, filled with a letter to give you kind of the 1, 2, 3s of the program. It comes with a tracker so that your you and your kids have a way to just track the number of minutes you read, and then along the way, which one of my favorite parts is prizes. And so we even have prizes that you can give away, like bookmarks and coloring pages and coloring medallions and a scavenger hunt, and even prize ideas like skip a chore pass or breakfast for dinner celebration or dessert before dinner, or movie night snack captain, or you get to
That's
pick
cute.
a new book. And also in the reading challenge packet that you get once you sign up is a summer reading bingo. So like I mentioned, it gives you these fun activity and challenges like read one proverb, read for 30 minutes, read on a rainy day, read a book with an animal in it, listen to an audiobook, read under a blanket fort. So a bunch of these fun ways for you to start reading.
Well, we are so excited about it. Remember, there will be a link on our website. And who doesn't want to be a stat captain? I'd like to thank my guest, Ashley Torres, and my behind-the-scenes team at Moody Radio, my producer, Karen Hendren, my associate producer, Lisa Jimchi, and my engineer, Merle St. James. To hear today's program again, you'll find it at livingbyfaithradio.org or on the Moody Radio app. You may also connect with us through Facebook and Instagram at Living by Faith. Living by Faith is a production of Moody Radio, a ministry of Moody Bible Institute.